Well, we're here, Tyson. It's week 18 and we're wrapping up the regular season. Luckily enough, we got a primetime game that actually means something. We got the division championship here between Miami and Buffalo, man. I'm ready for this one.
Yeah, man. Bills are pretty hot right now. What have they won? 5 out of the last 6, 4 straight games. Dolphins trending down. They're really banged up. We know for sure right now, as of recording, the Dolphins are in. This is all depending on, is it the 2 seed or the 6 seed? The Bills are waiting on some stuff to happen, mostly with the Jaguars here. But by the time they start this game, they'll sort of know where they're at. Let's get into this. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, we got a good one tonight. Sunday Night Football, the season finale for the regular season here. Next week, we're jumping into Wild Card Weekend, which is going to be fun. I think there's 3 days of football next week. There's a Saturday slate. I think it's a 2-gamer. There's a Sunday slate, 3-gamer, and then a Monday night game. So that's going to be fun to cover that. But let's talk about this one, man. So where are you leaning for this matchup, dude? Like, both teams have everything to play for. I know that there's some people who may argue that, the Dolphins have the 6 seed lockdown. They're super banged up. They could just go right, they could basically go into Arrowhead and play the Chiefs next week. And is that a good matchup for them? Maybe they want that. I don't buy it, dude. Like, this is for the division championship for the 2 seed. I think both teams are obviously fully into this, especially the Bills, because if the Jaguars win, this is a must-win game for them in order to get into the playoffs. So thoughts overall here. I don't want to spend too much time on motivations and stuff, because at the end of the day, both of these teams, they're going to want to win this game, and they're not benching dudes in the fourth quarter. The Dolphins aren't. So thoughts on this game?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. This is a division championship, and until we find out any other reason that they're going to not treat it as such, then I think we build with that in mind. Whoever wins this game is the 2 seed, and they win the division, right? So, like, I don't know what else to say. This isn't baseball. This isn't basketball. You can't just rest people or like take a. You can play basketball and half-ass it, right? You can just jog up and down the court. You can't do that in the NFL. You'll get fucked up. You will die by somebody running full speed and knocking your ass out. So, like, I think that stuff matters, man. I think this is a game that means something to both teams. This is a little bit different than the Baltimore situation. If you have any differing opinions on that, hop in the Discord, right? We're not gonna change our opinion until at least the Jacksonville game, right? So, like, hop in the Discord. We can chop it up there. But this show is going to be geared specifically to this being a division championship game.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, maybe the Dolphins are playing it safe by just not forcing Mostert to go out there this week. Maybe he could have played if this was a do or die, like playoffs are on the line sort of situation. But, maybe that's them playing it safe. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Obviously, I played a lot of Melvin Gordon yesterday, so you probably shouldn't listen to me if I'm guessing that they're going to start benching guys. All right, let's move into this.
But did you profit?
I did. I profited for the showdown slate. I kind of got messed up on that Jonathan Taylor big long touchdown. I had too much MPJ. All right, let's move on to this slate here. So this is a 48.5 point total. Bills are going into Miami. It's not a day game, so they don't have that home, field sun advantage. This is going to be at night, obviously, 8:15 or 8:20. We know that, we'll get into injuries a little bit deeper here in a second, but we know that Mostert's out. We know that Waddle's out. And we know that Hill, we saw the dude's house catch on fire this week, and he's standing there. It might be hard to see here, but he's got a walking boot on. Dude's walking around with a walking boot, and he's going to be playing NFL football this week. With Hill being like slightly limited with his speed, he's still one of the fastest guys on the field. But him being limited with that ankle injury, man, it really hurts this team. You know what I mean? So thoughts on this total here. Buffalo 2.5 point favorites on the road. I think it's probably right. Like, to me, this feels like Buffalo comes out, runs the ball well, Josh Allen dominates, and they get out of this one with a win. Probably a convincing win. That's just how it feels to me. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, man. I don't know if it's necessarily. I'm not sure it's going to be a convincing win, but I think like when we do talk about narratives, like this is the one thing to take away here is Buffalo absolutely has to win this game. To really stay in it, right? I understand they're relying on Jacksonville to some extent, or if they lose this game, they can still maintain that 6th seed. But as far as they're concerned, they need to win this game, right? So Miami, they can, if they start to notice that dudes are getting hurt or dinged up on the field, they do have a little bit more of the luxury to kind of pull back a little bit and play it safer. So yeah, man, I think this is a Buffalo Bills win. I think the line 2.5 or the line or the spread being 2.5 points is probably accurate. I think this probably comes down to a field goal last second. But that's really kind of just assuming that everyone for Miami is healthy by the time it gets a lock.
Let's talk about some trends from both of these teams. Obviously, Miami got whooped up last week, 56-19. They lost Bradley Chubb in a meaningless end of the game tackle where I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL. Dude, it's not looking like the Dolphins. It feels dire for these guys at this point. Like they can't. I know they beat Dallas 2 weeks ago. That was a pretty good win, but this team, it feels like they just can't beat the good teams. And honestly, it kind of goes the same with the Bills, man. Like Bills have had trouble winning games against tough teams as well. But dude, like this Dolphins team, it feels like, even though their defense is rated high, it feels like their defense is struggling right now. They've got a lot of injuries on that side of the ball too. The Bills, dude, they've been winning with the run game and defense, Their offense hasn't been really lighting it on fire as far as Josh Allen coming out and throwing for 400 yards or anything like that. They've been making it work. But, dude, this Dolphins offense, man, what can we expect with no Waddle, no Mostert? I know they still got Achane. They still got Jeff Wilson as a competent backup. But, dude, they're rolling out Cedric Wilson and Braxton Berrios, and they're relying on guys like Durham Smythe. Doesn't look good for them, man. How do we handle this fantasy-wise? Like, is this a situation where Tyreek Hill, we know he's pretty much going to get you 15 fantasy points, but can they shut down Tyreek Hill because there's just nobody else to stop?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a couple things for the Tyreek Hill part, right? The boot, to your point, is he going to be somewhat limited? Maybe he doesn't run as many routes down the field, so they can limit some of the contact and don't have to risk any injury further from there. But look, man, Mike McDaniel is a great coach. Maybe we should have watched Hard Knocks. For
I haven't done anything.
Show, but. Yeah, but man, Mike McDaniel, he's a good coach, dude. I think they'll come out ready to play. I think they'll have some pretty explosive offense. I think this is a game we can look more towards the over. I don't think that they're going to kind of come out flat considering they got the shit kicked out of them last week, right? I do think that they have a little bit of sense of pride, and I know this is all intangible stuff, but I do think that kind of helps them come out a little bit more motivated. Now, that's not to say that the Buffalo doesn't win by a touchdown, right? Like they could lose track of this game in the third or fourth quarter because, again, Miami is shorthanded, and Buffalo is kind of starting to put the pieces together at the right time, right? Like you want to be on a 5 out of 6 winning streak, right? When you're coming into the playoffs, you don't want to be getting dinged up, right? And this is all with Stephon Diggs being like the wide receiver 58 since week 10. So like they start adding Stephon Diggs back into the offense, right? Then, it's a team that's getting hot at the right time. So I don't think that Miami wants to fuck around with that. So I do think that they'll come out a little bit more motivated than what we saw from them last week.
Yeah, man. I mean, speaking of Stephon Diggs, under 50 yards, 6 of the last 7 games. I don't know what's going on here, man. But if they can get Diggs going, I mean, he's still over 1,000 yards this season. He's had an underwhelming season, but he started out pretty hot. If they can get him going, man, this offense could really turn on, especially with a guy like James Cook getting hot as well. When you look at the Bills' defense, their run defense is ranked 30th, according to PFF, but their coverage is ranked 4th. Their pass rush has been looking really good. Last week, they really got to Bailey Zappi. They got 3 picks. I'm pretty sure they got a couple fumbles. They got a lot of sacks in that game. Yeah, hey, it's the Patriots, whatever, right? But earlier this season, when the Bills played the Dolphins in Buffalo, that's a 48-20 win. and they really put a lot of pressure on Tua in that game up front as well. So the Bills are getting healthier. They're still without some of their star defenders, like Trey White and Milano, but they're getting guys back, and that's important. When it looks like, looking at these offensive lines, the Buffalo Bills struggled last week against the Patriots. They're ranked 5th according to PFF for their offensive line. Struggled a little bit last week. When it comes to the Miami Dolphins, they're ranked middle of the pack basically when it comes to their offensive line, and they've been banged up. Like their offensive line is not immune to these injuries on this team as well. When it comes to their pass rush, dude, they're ranked 5th. But to me, like a lot of these rankings, according to PFF right now, with the current state of the Miami Dolphins, just feels a bit off. Like I feel like they're susceptible on defense, both in the run game and in the air. And, a team like the Buffalo Bills ranked 17th in pass rush feels like they're trending up a little bit more. This is an interesting point from the Cover One guys on YouTube and on Twitter here that cover the Bills. The Dolphins struggle to defend running backs in the passing game. They surrender a first down or a touchdown 40% of the time when a pass is completed to a running back. That's 3rd worst in the NFL, including the 2nd most explosive plays in yards per attempt at 6.9. The Dolphins defense also 4th most missed tackles in the NFL. To me, this feels like an opportunity for James Cook to go off. Even Ty Johnson. These running backs I think can get involved heavily from the Bills. The only problem is how many goal line touchdowns is Josh Allen going to have that's going to steal from these guys? That's the one thing you worry about. Looks like Daquan Jones. They're getting Daquan Jones back on the defensive interior from IR. That's a big deal. Rasul Douglas here. Dude, he's had a good year. He's a Pro Bowl snub. He's ranked 5th amongst cornerbacks. And you got Jalen Ramsey. Look, I'm not talking trash about Jalen Ramsey, but he missed half the season, and he's in the Pro Bowl. So a little bit of narrative here for this defense to come out and whoop some ass. Let's get into injuries. All right, we've fooled around enough here trying to wrap our heads around this matchup. Let's actually look at injuries, and there's plenty to talk about specifically for one side of the ball.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
So Raheem Mostert, not going to play. Jalen Waddle, not going to play. You've got Holland coming back, or potentially coming back. He's questionable. Obviously, Bradley Chubb went out. Phillips also went out. This pass rush is going to be hurting a little bit, man. What jumps out to you for injury-wise? Xavier Howard also suffered a foot injury. He's being carted off of the field. That was last week. He's questionable. And we've got this tweet from one of the PFF guys. I believe it was PFF. Not mentioned by many motivation pieces this week. Dolphins are much closer to resting everyone for the playoffs and willingly jumping on the plane to Kansas City than trying to win Sunday night. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but it's a narrative that we got to bring up. So thoughts on these injuries and thoughts on that tweet?
Yeah, we'll start with the tweet. The first thing is not mentioned by many. Like, who the fuck is your source on that, right? Like, I feel like that's something that you could at least kind of reference, like somebody, a league official, like, or is that just some like you're sitting on the toilet this morning and had this thought? So I don't know, man. Like, have some idea, frame that tweet in some kind of relevant manner. Obviously, Waddle being out is huge. But after, even though I was kind of being a dickhead to John Daigle or whatever the fuck his name is, I do think there is some utility in what he said, right? Like, but I don't think, again, the team's going to come out resting starters on the first drive. Like, they're going to see how this plays out the second quarter. If they're getting the shit kicked out of them, then we may see a little more rotations on the back half of the game. But outside of that, man, I'm not really reading too much into this. I think Miami comes out ready to go.
All right, so we're looking at Buffalo Bills. They're relatively healthy, man, minus the studs that they're missing on defense just for the whole year. Micah Hyde, full practice. Von Miller, for whatever reason, he was a healthy scratch, I think, last week. Or maybe it was the week before. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this dude. But Von Miller, he was a DMP earlier in the week. He's full. We'll see if he's active or not. Probably will be. Besides that, dude, like, there's a ton. Look at all this shit. Like, we could spend all this time. Like, we got to wait to see how inactives go tonight to make any more decisions, because you got Jerome Baker, who's questionable, Javon Holland questionable, and obviously the studs are out. Anything else to add here? Let's just jump into this breakdown, dude. We've wasted enough time. Sorry, guys. Let's get into this right now. Break it down. All right, so Josh Allen is very expensive. That's not a surprise. Biggest question is this a Josh Allen captain slate? He's 11K. Tua is 10K. What are we doing here, man? Are we doing 2 quarterback builds? It's going to be hard, obviously, but there's a decent amount of value with all these injuries from the Miami side. And there's also some okay value on the Buffalo side. So are we super interested in getting double quarterback builds here? And what are we doing with captain with Josh Allen? Like, I think it's just a necessary evil at this point when it comes to Showdown. You got to get some exposure. At minimum, play him in your single entry, right?
Yeah, I like Josh Allen, captain. He's got the rushing upside. I think he has a rushing touchdown in a couple of his last games, if not, 2 or 3 over the last 4 or 5. So, say that again.
2 last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, he's always a threat on the ground. But this is a slate where I think having both quarterbacks is kind of risky business. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult to build that way, even with some of the value. And again, I think you can kind of capture the offense through some of the studs, right? Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you just go with Tyreek Hill in those lineups, right? Josh Allen, if you're playing him, maybe you don't need Stephon Diggs. And there's different ways that I think you can build. I think 2 quarterbacks is going to be very popular. They're both going to be chalky as hell. 70-80% of the lineups could have 2 quarterbacks, and that's obviously again a little bit dramatic. We'll see closer when we build how many lineups are capable of building with both quarterbacks. But look, man, I'm going to prioritize Josh Allen again. There's just a lot more on the line for the Bills. I think again, Miami comes out ready to play, but I think it's more likely that if Tua's in a shitty situation, it's more dink and dunk than it is pushing the ball upfield.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like, do I think Tua can be like the optimal captain in a game? Yeah, absolutely. The guy could come out and throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. I just right now with this team, with the injuries, I don't see it happening. And I think the biggest guy that gets hurt in all this is probably Tua. Me personally, I feel like Bills are going to whoop that ass, and I feel like this is potentially a blowout situation. So I probably will get to a little less Tua than I typically would, and I won't get to any of him at captain, I don't think. But staying around 40% ownership here ish probably is where I'll be, but I'm probably not getting to a lot of him at captain, most likely. With Josh Allen, we always talk about it, dude. These running backs, they get vultured by Josh Allen many a times. He had 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He didn't really need to do much last week because their defense set them up with really good field position a lot of times there with all those picks and fumbles that they got from New England. But Josh Allen is a necessary evil, in my opinion. He'll be my single entry captain. And then for tournaments, I'll have a little bit, but I'll probably, I'm locking him into the flex, most likely. With Tua, I will not have him in every lineup. Definitely not. Let's go to running backs. Let's start with Buffalo. James Cook, 8K. He's in a good spot here, man. He didn't have the best game last week, but look, you add a touchdown to that, and that changes a lot. But the problem with James Cook, and we've talked about it on all these Buffalo shows that we've done, is when they get down inside the 5 or even inside the 10, he's usually not on the field. Like even Ty Johnson will come in. Lat Murray will get those carries. If not those guys, you got Josh Allen sneaking it in or running the ball. So that hurts James Cook, obviously. But this is a guy that's probably going to get heavily involved in this game. He's going to get involved out of the backfield, catching balls most likely. You saw those stats earlier about how the Dolphins are susceptible to giving up big plays to these running backs out of the backfield. He's 8K, dude. I think he's a great captain option. And personally, if I'm thinking that this is a Bills convincing win, you're going to get some James Cook carries in the fourth quarter. Ty Johnson's 1,400. I'm not going to Fat Lenny in this one. I don't even know if he'll be active. We'll see. Lat Murray, 2,200. He's a touchdown or bust kind of guy. You probably expect eight points out of him max. Ty Johnson can get involved in the pass game a little bit. So what are we doing here with James Cook? Are you interested in doing any handcuffing here? I don't know that it's necessary, but Ty Johnson is decent value. And are you as high on James Cook as I am?
Yeah, James Cook's probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. Obviously, there's some risk baked into his goal line carries, but I think that's cooked into his salary, right? 8K. But I don't know that he should be that low priced, man. He should probably still be closer to 9K, just because of the upside that he has. And since the new offensive coordinator's taken over, they've continued to give him opportunities to carry the ball. So, look, man, at 8K, like, I just don't know how you come off of him. And especially at captain, he's going to give you a lot of flexibility to put in pretty much whatever you want in the flex spot. Outside of that, man, yeah, I like Ty Johnson. And then really just whoever ends up being active is one of these running backs. Like, especially in 150 max or in larger field GPPs, you can consider these backups again, because if you're going to have a running back like James Cook who can get shut down within the 5, one of these guys could vulture a touchdown. If it just happens to be Fat Man Lenny at 5% ownership, like 6.2 fantasy points might be enough to be in the optimal on a slate with Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, Tua, whatever.
Yeah, and if Fat Lenny's active, I'll play him. If he's active, they're going to probably use him. But we'll have to see how that all plays out as we get 90 minutes away from kickoff. Let's go to the other side here. So, look, Achane, like, they got their ass kicked last week. He still got his. I don't think there's a game script out there, really, unless he gets hurt, that he doesn't get you 100 yards, 100 total yards offense. We saw that, Jeff Wilson kind of got involved. Jeff Wilson's 3,200, Devon Achane's 9K. Jeff Wilson, he was a true spellback. He came in, he did his thing, he got involved in some of these third down pass plays. But, I don't think that you're going to see Jeff Wilson taking away many opportunities from Achane in this one, especially for a must-win type game. He's 9K, but dude, I like him at captain. I think that getting a Dolphins captain, get the one guy that goes off, or find a 2-4 stack, throw one of them at captain, is a pretty decent option. Run it back with 4 Bills. He's probably a guy that I'm going to be heavily considering a captain for sure, man. Thoughts on these running backs? Any interest in Jeff Wilson at 3,200?
Yeah, I like Achane. I like Jeff Wilson. Achane, a captain, another interesting spot. I again, like, and I think we're just going to keep saying this about Miami throughout the show. We could see maybe a little bit more Jeff Wilson, just because they want to limit the amount of times Achane's getting hit. Right. So, like, those are things that you want to be aware of. But again, I think that's cooked into a 9K price tag. Like, the dude had fucking 287,000 yards on 3 carries in week 2. Right. We know what kind of upside this dude has. So, look, at 9K, man, I don't know. I may only have Achane and James Cook at captain at this point, man. Like, yeah, they're just too cheap.
Let's just move on to the wide receivers here. Let's talk about Tyreek Hill. This is kind of the elephant in the room. Walking around with a walking boot while his house is burning down. Luckily, they took care of that. Apparently, that was like a kid playing with a lighter or something. That's unfortunate. Thankfully, no one got hurt. But seeing him in a walking boot is never a good thing, especially for a guy that needs his speed, man. He's 11.2K. He's the most expensive dude on the slate. He looks like he's going to be around 50% owned, probably 15, 20%-ish in the captain spot. So you're looking at a guy who's probably going to be 70% owned. But typically we're seeing Tyreek Hill as a guy that's 80, 90% owned in these showdown slates. Are people worried about the injury, re-injury risk? How many times have we seen him leave a game and we're all just screwed, and he'll come back 3 or 4 times and they'll try to get him back out there. What are you doing with Tyreek Hill here, man? Like, this feels like one of the slates. I know there's no Jalen Waddle, but I think that actually hurts Tyreek Hill in this game. Is this a situation where you're considering not getting as much exposure to Tyreek as you typically would? Are you fading him in some builds? Like, what are your thoughts here for Hill? And that high ownership and the risk of, maybe he re-aggravates it and they say, we're not risking this, and they sit his ass down. What are you thinking?
Yeah, man, I'm just going to be even with the field and Tyreek Hill. Like, he's just not a guy I'm going to overthink. If he's out there, he's a threat for 250 and 3 touchdowns. Now, I know we've heard a lot of bullshit about narratives coming into this week, but he's what, like 270 yards short of 2,000 on the season. I don't think he's going to go get 270 today, but if there's an NFL wide receiver that can absolutely do it in one game, we know who it is, right? So look, man, I don't want to overthink it. I'm going to probably just be even with the field. I think staying 45, 50% is the way to go. And then maybe just don't play him at captain. We all know what those lineups are going to look like. Just, don't pay the rate. Don't do Tyreek Hill captain lineups. And I think that'll be enough to hedge yourself.
Yeah, we'll build plenty here with Tyreek. When we start building lineups, and we'll kind of see how that goes. Thankfully, there's a decent amount of value here. You got Cedric Wilson, 4,400. I don't love any of these guys particularly, but Cedric Wilson's probably the one guy that I would consider, being over the field on potentially if I need him. Braxton Berrios, 2,600. River Craycraft, 800. Robbie Chosen still hanging around at 600. You got Chase Claypool, $200. Dude, you probably spread yourself out. Maybe, Braxton Berrios is a guy that's going to be on the field at least. I don't know what to expect from Craycraft or Chosen or Claypool. I think at this point the tight ends for Miami are getting involved a little bit more as opposed to these rando third or fourth string wide receivers. So besides Tyreek Hill here, man, any interest in any of these scrub type dudes, and Cedric Wilson?
Probably not. Even Cedric Wilson's priced a little bit high. You would need a touchdown at 4,400 or something. And I'm just not convinced he's necessarily going to get involved in the offense. They can use Achane for a lot of the wide receiver stuff that some of these guys do. But look, if you're running 150 max, 20 maxes, these guys should all be in your player pool. Anyone under Cedric Wilson, you probably shouldn't have more than one. You don't need Claypool and Robbie Chosen in your lineup. I don't think anybody's risking that anyways, but let me say that just to be clear. I don't think I'm going to get to Craycraft or Chosen specifically. I think you probably leave in Berrios and maybe a little bit of Claypool. The other two, I'm not entirely convinced they'll get run.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about Achane because, him and Jeff Wilson probably be on the field together a decent amount, and they'll motion out Achane or they'll motion out Jeff Wilson to play another one of these wide receiver spots. Let's go to Buffalo. So, Stephon Diggs, 10.2K. Look, a showdown slate with Stephon Diggs. I don't care what he's been doing. This is a one-game slate. At any given moment throughout the season, this dude could put up 152 touchdowns. If he finally does get involved, it unlocks this offense like crazy. This offense has not looked super great. Like I said, their run game and their defense has really helped them on this 5 of 6 game win streak here. But a guy like Gabe Davis at 7K, we know what to expect from him. Unfortunately, is he going to put up 30 points or 3? Flip a coin. This is a Buffalo showdown slate, so I'm going to have to play Gabe Davis at captain, just in case. Any interest in Diggs and Davis together? Are you stacking up multiple wide receivers together? If we wanted to fade Diggs and play, Gabe Davis with Shakir or one of these guys, are you interested in any of that? I think at this point, Sherfield at 200 and Deontay Hardy at 200 are almost unplayable. Maybe a guy like Hardy who gets involved with, maybe some motion, some handoffs out of the backfield, maybe, but I'm just not really super interested in any of these guys. Shakir seems to be the one that's going to be on the field. And now with Knox back, we're getting more 2 tight end sets anyway. So I'll stop the rambling here. Thoughts on Diggs and Gabe Davis here?
Yep, love him. Obviously, you got Josh Allen as your quarterback, so I don't think you want to not get his pass catchers. I don't think you're going to be able to do both, and that's just because I'm high-end Cook, right? You can get Josh Allen, James Cook. Probably not going to be able to do both Diggs and Davis in those lineups. That said, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Gabe Davis in general. Stephon Diggs, he's been wide receiver 58 since week 10. That wasn't. I'm sure you can Google or find that shit on Twitter somewhere, but he just hasn't been getting it done. And quite frankly, the easiest way to predict your immediate future is look at your immediate past. Dude hasn't been getting it done. We know what he can do. So I think you throw him in at a captain spot to hedge yourself a little bit and maybe just not risk playing him that much in flex. You can save that salary to get to Tyreek Hill if you want. So that's probably going to be my approach. Outside of that, man, Shakir maybe in my player pool, but again, 5,200 is just really expensive. I think you might just be better off punting and then paying up elsewhere. And then Sherfield, Hardy, they're damn near out of the rotation at this point.
Yeah. Look, if Stephon Diggs is really coming in around 35% ownership and maybe 5 to 10% in the captain spot, it's one of those things that I'm really itching to, jam him in way above the field for a guy that we know who this guy is. He's been having a rough couple weeks. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to fade Stephon Diggs, and I'm going to play Stephon Diggs probably quite a bit in this one. And if he just has another average game, maybe I'm screwed. I'm not going like 80 or 90% or anything like that, but maybe 50%, maybe 15% in the captain spot is probably what I'm thinking. And with Gabe Davis, you could probably fade him in the flex potentially. You know how it is with him. Throw him at captain, fade him in the flex potentially, go from there. Let's go to tight ends. Dalton Kincaid had a pretty good game last week, 6,200. He's been, since Dawson Knox came back, these guys have both been kind of not necessarily been the best, especially Dawson Knox. We haven't really seen much out of him. But Kincaid last week, he had, 80-something yards. On paper, it looks like a pretty good game. 55 of those came on one catch. Now, I'm not penalizing him, obviously, for that. I'm just saying he's, he still hasn't been involved as much as we would have wanted him to. Thoughts on these two guys? Dawson Knox is 2K. I don't think I'm really spending 2K for Dawson Knox at this point. But hey, you never know. If this offense turns it on, they start putting up points, these guys are going to get involved. Thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, man. Look, so let's just think about it this way. Not only do those Josh Allen touchdowns vulture James Cook, but those are play action touchdowns to tight ends, right? So, just think about the different play calls and what could eventually happen there. Dalton Kincaid, he is a little pricey at 6,200, but Dawson Knox, I don't disagree. I kind of disagree. I don't mind paying for him at 2K. We're going to be rotating some other weird value in, and we know Dawson Knox has 2 touchdown, 100-yard upside, and he is the true tight end one. So if this offense gets going, if they click today, and again, this is more of a must win than anything else for Buffalo. I do think Dawson Knox has the potential to get involved, and a 2K is just not as risky as paying up 6,200 for Dalton Kincaid, who really does need that big play. Quentin Morris, I don't know if he's going to be active.
It's a good point with Knox here and these tight ends, as far as if one of these Josh Allen goal line sneaks turns into a play action dump off, I mean, that changes everything for these guys, especially Knox, most likely. Let's go to Miami. So Darius Smythe has been getting involved a little bit more recently. He's 3K. Julian Hill, 400. Look, I don't think that Smythe is super appealing. But he has been getting involved a little bit more lately. He's on the field a lot. And with all these injuries to these wide receivers, maybe do they involve him a little bit more potentially? Wouldn't surprise me, though, if each one of these dudes have like 3 fantasy points.
Yeah, man. Smite's still priced up a little bit too high for me. I think he probably should be 2K or less. I think you're better off just going to Julian Hill, maybe saving that 2,600 and going from Achane to Tyreek Hill. Like, that's what the savings will give you. So that'll be my approach. I don't know that I'm getting much Smythe. 150, you're fine getting even with the field.
All right, let's move on to defense and kickers here. So, any interest in these kickers? You got Jason Sanders at 5K, Tyler Bass 4,800, a little bit priced up. I'm hoping to see these kickers start to get priced down a little bit more in the low 4s, like we used to see it. The Bills defense is 38, Dolphins defense 4K. Dolphins defense is so banged up right now, man. I just don't see them having the impact that we've seen this year so far, where they are able to make some big plays. Bills defense going up against a team that's banged up and doesn't have all their guys, against a banged up offensive line. Bills defense is healthier now. I know they're still missing Trey White and Milano, but they've gotten back most of their guys. 3,800, I don't know. Are you interested in a game against Miami where they just got their asses blown out, man? Are they going to come out flat?
No, I don't think Miami comes out flat. I'm not necessarily interested in these defenses. I'm especially not in the Dolphins. The Bills, I think, are technically in play just because of the question marks that we have surrounding Miami. But to be completely honest with you, I don't think it justifies the ownership. They shouldn't be 20% owned, and neither should the Dolphins be 11%. There's a 49-point total or whatever, and a 2.5-point spread. So I don't think that the defense is necessarily in play. That said, I think that indicates that one of the kickers is probably in play. I don't know if you need both, but this is a division championship game. The game matters. You're going to take points when you need points. And if it really is a 2.5-point spread or a field goal spread, you can't be losing out on 3 points.
Let's crown their ass for tournaments.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie, you're going Cook. I'm going Achane. I think there's plenty of decent, above decent captain options here, but I think we're both liking these running backs. Cook will probably be, I don't know. Do you think that both of these guys, ownership-wise, will come in pretty similar?
Yeah, I mean, I think the top of the ownership is probably going to be Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, and Stephon Diggs. I think these two probably slip under the radar a little bit just because he's on the slate.
Yeah, it's looking like Tyreek will be the highest, Josh Allen, Achane, and then Tua, and then Diggs. So Cook could be under 10% owned at captain, man. He's in a good spot. And his salary is pretty decent at that $8K in the flex. That's pretty nice, dude. Achane, to me, I want to try to get to one of these Dolphins skill players in the captain spot more than the field, because I like the roster construction of running it back with at least 3 Bills guys and getting my exposure in the captain spot to one of these explosive Dolphins guys that most likely a guy like Achane is going to get involved. He's going to get over 100 yards total, you would have to assume. But Cook is probably my second favorite. And then from there, it's Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, guys like that. I think I'm going to focus more on Josh Allen in single entry, and I'll get to a decent amount of Tyreek Hill at captain, but probably under the field, like probably 10%. Opposed to his ownership of like 20 from the field, and then maybe, around the field in the flex for Tyreek Hill. Let's go to fades. So look, there's plenty of fade options on this slate. Like, a lot of shit can happen. You got big name guys that, you could probably take a break on today. Fade.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
I'm not going to go out on a super limb here. Tua to me at captain just doesn't feel very appealing. Yeah, he could have a massive game. I just don't see it happening against this defense that's real hot. To me, it feels like you could fade Tyreek, you could fade Diggs, you could fade some of these guys. I'm not going down the fade Josh Allen route at all. Who else jumps out to you here as candidates? Now, I'm not going to do that probably. I might consider fading Tyreek in the captain spot maybe to get some more exposure to some of these cheaper guys. But where are you leaning overall? Like, do you have any bold takes that you might consider tonight after we get inactives?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the inactives, we could see that Miami really doesn't give a shit, and they actually are fine playing with Kansas City, a team who just doesn't look great, and you probably want to eliminate sooner rather than later. So, again, stuff like that could happen, and then you could start fading all kinds of people on the Miami offense. But that said, I think Tyreek Hill is probably the as bold as I'll go. And normally I'll come into a slate like this comfortably getting 80, 90%, but I think being 45, 50% is a ballsy enough fade, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're probably right, dude, because that is a guy that can absolutely have 30 fantasy points just rolling out of bed and hurt. Let's jump into lineup builds here. So we appreciate you guys. Throw us a like on this video. Let's get to 100 likes for this video. We do have our YouTube members. If you want to join that down below, it helps support the channel. It's $3.99 a month. You get one, at this point, we're going to give you one showdown video specifically for members, as well as we have the private Discord, or we have the private channel within the free Discord that's just for paid YouTube members that will be sharing our core single entry play for that show that we do for you guys. Let's jump into this, dude. Let's build with Tyreek Hill to start as our single entry. Like, we're talking a smaller field single entry, maybe the $50 to $100 single entry. Let's try to build for that. Tyreek Hill captain. Let's see what else happens. So we got to get to Josh Allen. I really feel like Achane and Cook really need to be in this lineup. And, we're looking at a $2,600 a piece for 2 spots here. So we're going to have to punt probably twice with Tyreek Hill at captain. Or do you want to pay up and just completely punt? Like, do you want to get to a kicker and then just say screw it and play one of these $400 guys or something that's, I don't know, any interest in doing that? How do we approach this?
Yeah, let's see if we can. I mean, do we have any $200, $400 guys that we're comfortable with?
I mean, you're basically just taking the zero. Like if Fat Lenny is active, maybe Trent Sherfield could fall on a reception. I don't think so. But, it is a conversation to be had. Like, are you willing to take 2 or 3 fantasy points in order to get, a kicker? I don't think so. I don't think so for this. I don't think that Tyreek Hill is such a massive absolute play at captain in this particular game because of that injury. I don't think it's worth it. I guess let's just grab some of these mid-level dudes. Like, any interest in Jeff Wilson at 3,200 for a lineup like this? I don't particularly like that. Or is this a Cedric Wilson kind of build?
I mean, so you put in either, it really doesn't matter because, to put in Cedric Wilson, we still only have $800 left.
Yeah, you can get to Craycraft, you can get to Chosen. You're really only expecting a catch out of them. And, I don't know that it's worth it to play Tyreek at captain for all that. Now, could you pull out Cook or Achane and go somewhere else, go mid-level? We probably could do that. You want to try like
pull out Cook and I guess
Kincaid,
Gabe Davis, maybe.
Yeah, I'd rather go.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd rather go Kincaid maybe here. So 3,500 apiece. Let's put in a kicker. Let's kick his ass Seabass 2,200. Latavius Murray, Dawson Knox, Ty Johnson. Maybe that's more of a range that I would consider as like a punt. But I still don't like it. So let's build with somebody else at single entry captain. You want to go Josh Allen here? We saved $300. It's not going to do much for us, but let's try it. Let's go Tyreek.
Let's do it.
And we're leaving out Diggs and Tua in that lineup as well. I just think like Achane's going to get involved so much. I really want to have him in my single entries. And we might even let's build after this, let's build a Cook captain single entry. But let's get him in the flex here. We're dealing with something similar. So you got to pull Cook out probably. And you got to go to maybe kicker. Let's just go to kicker right off the bat and see what that does for us. So we got 2 spots left. Is this a Kincaid situation again? Maybe. You got Josh Allen in the captain spot, and you're back down to Murray, Knox, Ty Johnson. Is there another way to build this? Like, should we pull out Kincaid and go down to Cook? See if that buys us anything? Or pull out Achane, go down to Cook?
Yeah. And then what? You had Kincaid in there still, so throw him back.
Let's try it. I don't love that, to be honest. Let's put kicker in. You can go either way. Let's just put in Bass for right now. And you got Jeff Wilson Jr., Smythe, Berrios as a punt. I don't hate it for some of these bigger single entries. Getting a guy like Jeff Wilson Jr. maybe he gets involved more at the goal line than we've seen. I just don't like it. So let's go all the way down to James Cook for single entry captain. Let's try it. What are we doing here? We're going Diggs, or are we going Allen, Tyreek? Is this Achane as well, or do we want to get some Tua? Pay up 1,000.
Throw in Achane, man. I like Achane. I think you can get all the offense between Achane and Hill.
Let's go kicker here. That's 2K. It's not really going to get us much. It's a little tight. You're going to have to be comfortable playing some of these guys like Dawson Knox or Ty Johnson. Let's just put Ty Johnson in and see what happens. Or we can go somewhere else. Yeah. What were you going to say?
No, I was just say Dawson Knox. I'm fine with either of those guys. Ty Johnson, Dawson Knox. Here's the thing, though. If you're going to punt, I'm almost willing to go back to the Josh Allen captain lineup and then just outright punt. You know what I mean? Throw Julian Hill in there and then just stack up. So I know that's kind of a risky option for cash, but if you're gonna take a 1.2, you don't want it to be a $1,400 Ty Johnson. You want to may as well get a 0 from Julian Hill
and be able to get Josh Allen at captain. So now that we're seeing sort of this lower end captain that we would use, there's really not a huge difference. You're still kind of punting twice, or you're getting a kicker and punting. So if you're comfortable with that, maybe
which is fine for GPP.
Yeah. So let's build some GPP. Let's. What do you want to build with that captain? You want to go high end again and punt?
Dude, I've been itching to build this since you said it. Put an H-N and then let's just run back with 5 bills if we can. Like
Allen, Diggs, Cook. Let's get the kicker, and let's get
Dawson Knox,
Lat
man.
Murray or Dawson Knox.
Ty Johnson, like you can.
Yeah.
I'll run all those. Lat Murray, Ty Johnson, Dawson Knox. Damn, that was fun. That was easy as hell.
Let's go H-Chan and one other guy. Let's go H-Chan and Tyreek. All right, and let's see. That's gonna obviously make things a lot more interesting. We probably can't get to Diggs, but maybe we fade Cook in this one, and let's go Diggs, and let's grab another low end pass catcher here. Since we're fading Cook in this one, let's plug Ty Johnson in and see if that does anything for us. Dawson Knox. I mean, I don't hate it. Achane, Hill,
Yeah.
with Josh Allen, Diggs, Ty Johnson, and Dawson Knox. That's kind of a weird build. We're not going to be able to be very comfortable on this slate based on what we're seeing here. All right, you want to build one with Josh Allen and kind of see like how it should be done for a tournament?
Yeah.
Let's fade Tyreek Hill. You want to?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go Diggs. What do you want to do like a 2-4 here? Allen, Diggs, and run it back?
And then let's do it. I mean, for fading Hill, let's throw in Tua.
Achane?
Yeah.
It's gonna get weird. We might need to just fade Achane as well. That's scary. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
So what if we pull out? I mean, this might be weird as hell. Pull out Tua. Let's go. What? Jason Sanders, Jeff Wilson, and then just see what money we have.
6,100. Another kicker, or leave money on the table with Cedric Wilson. I'm not getting 2 Wilson Juniors together.
Yeah.
Let's pull out Diggs. Let's go Josh Allen, Cook, or Kincaid.
Let's do Gabe Davis. We haven't done any Gabe Davis.
All right, let's get Gabe Davis. Let's run it back. So we're going to fade Tyreek in this one. Let's go Tua. Let's go Achane. We could get a field goal kicker here if we wanted. You want to go Jason Sanders here? 2,500. Craycraft. See, I don't know that I want to go that low. So maybe this is a 4-2 with Tua and Achane. Let's get Tyler Bass in here, and that does open up Braxton Berrios. But probably a Dawson Knox, Ty Johnson, any of these guys. 4-2 here. It's not sexy. None of these builds are really jumping out to me as like I love them, right?
Yeah, and I mean, even this one, at this point, right, we go back into that one thing. Like, do we want to save $1,300 and keep Gabe Davis, or just spend another $1,000 and go up to James Cook?
Let's go to Gabe Davis, captain, GPP. Let's put Josh Allen with him. Let's put Tyreek Hill in there with him. If Gabe Davis goes off, probably not seeing Diggs go off. Could happen, but most likely we usually only get one of those guys that goes off. So what do you want to do here? You want to do like a 4-2? You want to just see where it lands? You want to get Cook or Achane here? I think we got to go with one of these guys.
Yeah, let's. This is kind of crazy, but let's go Cook. Let's see if we can fade Achane. I think we go Cook, Sanders, and then see where we're at.
4,300 defense. Jeff Wilson.
This actually might be one of the few times where I in a 150 max where I throw in the Bills defense.
Yeah.
Right? Like Tyreek Hill can get there 250 yards and a touchdown. Jason Sanders 4 field goals, and the Bills could still have 6 sacks and a pick 6.
It feels like Gabe Davis is a little bit easier to build with. We don't have to make as many tough decisions. We're still going to have to make tough decisions every single time we build here if we're hand building. That's probably why I'm going to use the shit out of SaberSim tonight. I'm going to set with what I want to do, and make it do what I want to do, but not have to micromanage these little tiny individual like 1v1 type things. Let them decide. You want to build one more here? You want to get crazier? You want to go like Kincaid? You want to go anywhere else and see if we can find one of these value dudes that we can fit a lot of these dudes in the flex?
I mean, look, I'll run a Dawson Knox captain tonight.
All right, let's try it. All right, let's just go Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Achane, and a kicker. You could do whatever the hell you want. Honestly, though, any of these Dawson Knox captain lineups are going to probably be all very similar. This is probably a duped lineup right here. You know?
Yeah, actually, pull out Stephon Diggs and throw in James Cook.
Yep, let's do it. Cook, 7,800. Gabe Davis, Kincaid, double tight end, or you could just leave a little bit of money on the table potentially. What'd you learn, man? Not my favorite slate to build that we've done, but what did you learn, man? What decisions are you gonna have to make tonight? Are you gonna let the Sims help you out a little bit?
Actually, we got a late Christmas party for her work, so I'll be hand building a lot tonight, just politely at a dinner table. So yeah, man, look, it's gonna be an uncomfortable slate, but these are the fun ones, right? Like everybody else is having just as difficult a time building as us. They're gonna be just as unconfident. So as always, hop in the Discord. We'll keep chopping it up in there. If we see any news that comes out throughout the day, we'll obviously keep you posted. But that's how we're gonna have to prep for tonight, man.
Yeah, it's not going to be comfortable, but it is what it is. Like you said, I don't think anybody's going to be comfortable. We appreciate you guys. Throw us a like on the way out. We will see you guys back for next week's games. Probably expect something out of us Thursday, probably for that first 2-gamer on Saturday. We will see you guys later.